You could hear a pin drop. The air was silent as the gun carried the coffin of Princess Diana through the streets of London. Millions in person and even billions more on television watched as we said goodbye to a woman that irrevocably changed our world and our perspectives. For better or for worse, it's hard to imagine this world without seeing Diana everywhere. She was in newspapers, televisions, and those of us who were fascinated by her or were struggling with any kind of health issues, to us, she was a very special person. I was not one of the millions that watched the 1981 wedding of Lady Diana Spencer to Prince Charles, but shortly thereafter in the 1990s, I did start following the royal family with great interest. And I was very touched myself by her courage and dedication with her own personal turmoils. Let me talk today about some of the massive impact Diana has had on our world, from making the royals more relatable to her massive support of her charities and her humanitarianism and her mental health issue support. Prior to Diana joining the royal family, the British monarchy was quite stuffy. They had a lot of formal rules for behavior, and you didn't see a lot of the tactile contact in their family life that you would in everyday life, and Diana sought to change that. Because of a despondent childhood and a father that lacked attention, Diana sought to fashion her royal family after a normal one. She handled child rearing very different with her two boys, the Princes William and Harry, choosing to do a lot of the child rearing herself rather than hand it over to some of the nannies. She went on frequent outings with the kids. They went skiing, they went to amusement parks, she even participated in some of their school functions. In public, she was expressive, giving them big hugs and smiles and loving them rather than being reserved like what was expected. For the first time, a royal went to public school when little William went to Mrs. Minor's nursery school. And resisting royal tradition, she actually brought her kids with her on royal trips overseas rather than leaving them at home. She was also the first royal to speak publicly about her turmoil and personal anguish. Although this was frowned upon by the royal establishment, it opened up the monarchy to the world and made them more empathetic. A 2017 CNN online article by Kate Motley, dated August 30th, 2017, wrote, "After the first year, Charles had taken Camilla for a royal mistress. In a TV interview, Diana would say, 'There were 3 of us in this marriage, you see, so it was quite crowded.'" In that same interview, Diana would talk openly about her bulimia, which is a violent cycle of overeating and vomiting, and how this was a symptom of the infidelity of Charles. In addition to making down-to-earth royal family more open and accessible, she also had a passion for helping her fellow man. She's best known for her dedication to the downtrodden and her support of charities and her humanitarianism. Princess Diana supported many charities while she was the Princess of Wales and continued to do so even after she had lost her title. A USA Today article online written by Carly Mellenbaum, dated August 25th, 2017, talked about a speech Diana gave at Centerpoint, which is an organization for youth homeless that she is a patron of, that basically said each young person should have the ability to have a start in life, and if they don't have a family to turn to, then we as society need to be there to give them the help and the encouragement that they need. It goes on to say in that article that she brought her sons with her to the homeless shelters so that she's exposing the next generation to what the public would need. In addition to giving speeches, a lot of the fashions that she had worn were auctioned off at Christie's in support of all of her charities to the tune of $3.25 million, and that helped out with AIDS and cancer. As far as humanitarian goes, Diana worked tirelessly for what she viewed as the disenfranchised group of people and the causes and attentions that she felt weren't getting enough attention. One of the most heartfelt causes she supported after her divorce was her trip to Angola in 1997 to support landmines and the elimination of them. Even though she put herself in harm's way, she wanted to make sure that she told the world about this and wanted to get rid of it. By far, the most impactful action she ever took was shaking hands with an AIDS patient at London's Middlesex Hospital. Previously, it was thought that you could get AIDS through transmission of touch. Diana helped directly to change that impression with the world. Diana felt strongly about her charities and her humanitarianism, but she also felt just as strong about eliminating the shame and misunderstanding when it comes to having or even admitting to having mental health issues. Throughout her life, she herself struggled personally with mental health issues, from childhood despondency to marital infidelity to postpartum depression. And to our benefit, she had the courage to speak about these things and not just leave it in the background. During a 1995 television interview on BBC's Panorama with Martin Bashir, she talked about the depression related to infidelity and postpartum depression issues. She said, "You feel pain on the inside, so you want to hurt yourself on the outside. You're asking for help, but it's the wrong kind of help. People think that you're crying wolf or you're an attention getter." She went on to talk further about how she inflicted pain upon herself because she didn't like herself, because she was ashamed that she felt she couldn't cope with the pressure. In addition to being open and honest about herself and expressing those views, that kind of action impacted the people closest to her. Her kids, William and Harry, and his wife Kate, created an online mental campaign called Heads Together, and this supports people in getting education and funding and removing the stigma from mental health. Additionally, Byron E. Gordon, who's with the British newspaper The Telegraph, hosted a 12-episode podcast on mental health issues called Mad World, and Prince Harry was her first guest. He talked openly and frankly about his mother's death and the impact on him and the decades-long struggle he had with dealing with grief. In examining all of the good things that she did in her life, you can see that Diana's had a significant impact on the peoples of the world and our culture. She's made the royals more open and empathetic. Her charities continue their good work today. And the world thinks differently about things like AIDS and mental health issues. To any of you that follow royals, like I do, or you know anyone affected by any of the issues that she championed, then Diana has had an impact on you. Her courage, sincerity, and dedication to her family and the people of the world are the reason why Britain Prime Minister Tony Blair named her the People's Princess.